Bitcoin is kind of this weird thing because it doesn't have any fundamentals behind it, so we can't really compare it to equities. It doesn't really have much of a useful purpose for making material items, so we can't really compare it to commodities. If you try to compare it to currencies, well, it's not a currency that's backed by government, so you can't really compare it to that. The closest thing I think we can compare it to is gold, which is also kind of an odd comparison too, because gold is something physical. And cryptos, well, they're not physical, right? So it's really hard to make a comparison, but I think gold is one that it's, well, I don't think, it is one that it's kind of commonly compared to, but I think it makes a fair comparison as it is a alternative source of value. It gets value intrinsically from people believing in it. So what can we take away of a comparison between Bitcoin and gold? First, let's look at it in the context of diversification. We often hear that gold or Bitcoin is a diversifier from equities. However, that isn't really the case when you compare it to equities. Bitcoin and gold really don't offer a ton of diversification from equities. Actually, they have a pretty strong correlation with equities, and that means that, when equities go up, Bitcoin and gold tends to go up. When they go down, these ones tend to go down. Bitcoin, really goes up and really goes down. But let's just look at it here over a recent period of, what is this here? November 24th to December 8th, right? We had a little bit of a pullback in the market. The S&P 500 here, as represented by total return on Morningstar, went down almost 4%, right? At the end of November, beginning of December. Well, Bitcoin around that time also had its own little pullback. If we put it there on 1 month, well, it's kind of been in a full-on pullback, but right there on Black Friday was kind of the big day. Bitcoin, had a big drop itself right here. And it went from 58 down to 53. So it lost about 10% of its money, or 10% of its value, and then it subsequently has kind of kept going down since then. So Bitcoin is, performing, or not necessarily performing like the S&P 500, but it's performing in correlation with that. And if we, were to look at things over a longer stretch of time, we will find that, Bitcoin kind of tends to go up when the market goes up, goes down when the market goes down. We can compare that to gold, which again is kind of the long-term diversifier. And a lot of people think it's a diversifier, but statistically it is not a very good diversifier. It goes up and down with the market. So we can pull it back. We're going to certainly see that, gold kind of goes up and down with things. And I don't really follow gold too closely, so I don't really know what it's done. In the little 08-09 crisis, it went down, or it went up. It gave some diversification benefits, but not a ton. Over, in other periods during COVID, shorten that up. Gold kind of went down a little bit, and then it started going back up, but it didn't go up as fast as the market. And the market, overtook it, or at least I don't want to say overtook it, but had better returns. So gold and Bitcoin, not extremely good diversifiers. They do different things in the market, but they still have a very strong correlation. Bitcoin obviously being more radical, and that's just a characteristic of its volatile properties. So yeah, Bitcoin, will go up and down. So if you're looking for portfolio protection in terms of diversification, well, clearly you want to go into gold, right? That's just kind of the way it is. But now let's shift gears and talk entirely different about it here. And that is in terms of total market cap. And this is kind of my favorite way of looking at it, right? Because I want to know, how big can Bitcoin really grow? How big can this crypto thing grow? If I get on board with it and I'm buying and holding, should I bank on the fact that Bitcoin is just going to grow forever and kind of have this ever-growing market cap like you see with equities? And, mind you, that's not necessarily a fact. Nothing in investing is a fact, but historically, going back hundreds of years, equities earn an excess return above inflation. That could also be called the real return. So you get that from equities where they just keep going up. Is Bitcoin and crypto going to have that? I personally don't feel like it is. I think it's an instrument that trades relative to the value of other instruments, namely currencies, and gold and other types of assets that have intrinsic value. So I don't think it's always going to go up indefinitely. That's my opinion. And I'm also not a big fan of buy and hold investing. I think that, outside of equities, there needs to be an exit point. And even with my equities, I do have quantitative exit points. But that's a whole nother topic. The big concept is I just don't think Bitcoin's going to go up forever. It might go up for the next 10 years or so, right? It might go up a lot. But we need to have kind of a point in our mind where it's like, all right, we either scale down our exposure to crypto or we get out of the market entirely. And that's where the Bitcoin to gold comparison comes in here, right? So, if we just look at things in terms of market capitalization, how big is the market? Let's just go gold market cap. Gold market cap about $10 trillion. All right, well, let's look things up and see what the Bitcoin market cap is. Bitcoin market cap is $2.3 trillion. So if you want to invest in crypto, I think it would be a fair, I don't want to say comparison, but a fair stake to say, okay, I'm going to bank on the crypto market cap going up to, roughly that of gold, or at least exceeding it. We can see more of a functional value between Bitcoin and gold. We can also see that the younger generations, mine and younger, I'm being 31 and, everybody younger is certainly more into the crypto thing and places a higher value on it than gold. So, if you're looking to invest kind of in Bitcoin or crypto and want to know when to get off, that comparison of Bitcoin and gold is incredibly valuable. And personally, I am kind of putting a little bit of money into the crypto market based on this factor here of Bitcoin to gold, right? Or crypto market to gold. And I believe personally that the crypto market over a few year period will get to the level of gold in terms of market capitalization. And at that point, I would probably start pulling back a little bit of my exposure to crypto. And mind you, these numbers that I'm talking about here, it's overall a very, very, very small percentage of my portfolio. So that's my thoughts on it. What do you guys think? Bitcoin versus gold, right? What do you see as the big differences between them? Where do you see the market of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies going? Let me know in the comments below, guys.